to make a cardboard drink container, much like this one in Adobe Illustrator. So it's an orthogonal drawing with a front, top, and right hand side view. So let's get our file set up and get drawing. We'll make a new file, File, New, and we'd like the size to be A3. So change that to A3 here, and the orientation here, portrait. Hit OK, and it will give you a new artboard. What we need to do now is set it up so that we've got guides and everything in place. So we're going Edit, Preferences, and we go to Units first, just to make sure that your general units are millimeters. And then we go down to the next option for guides. We're doing a grid line every 10 millimeters and a subdivision every 2, which means halfway through that 10 millimeters at 5 millimeters will be another little square. We'll hit OK. So that when I go View, Show Grid, I can actually see my centimeter grid with my half centimeter subdivision. Now I'm going to bring up my Layers toolbar here on the right. I'm just going to detach it so I can see it, and I'm going to make a layer called Guides. And I'm going to plan out my drawing so I know exactly how it's positioned on the page, and I also know how the views are spaced in relation to each other. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a rectangle. I'm just grabbing that rectangle tool there on the left, and I just click once on the desktop, and I'm going to make it 95 mil wide. This is a 2 litre orange juice container perhaps, and 250 mil high, and there's one rectangle. What I'm going to do is turn off the fill, so select the fill down here in the bottom left and say none, and then go to the color, and I'm going to change the color with the swatch toolbar, maybe to a color that I'm not going to be drawing with later on. So I'm going to make mine pink, and I'm going to increase the stroke weight so that you can see it better, and leave it like that. Now what I want is for these to line up, I guess, with the grid initially. So I can go View, Snap to Grid, and when I select it with the selection tool, I can deselect and then grab that corner, and as I drag it, it's going to align it with those grid squares. So you can't drop it anywhere but on a grid square, like so. So those measurements are the full width and the full height of that view, including the smaller parts. The right hand side view is exactly the same, so I can actually hold down Alt and click and drag it over here. I'm just going to place it, but I'm not sure how far apart it needs to be just yet. And the top view is another square looking straight down. It's 95 by 95, so I enter those values and hit OK. Now in orthogonal drawing, all my views have to be the same distance apart, my front and top and my front and right hand side. So because this is my guide layer, I'm actually going to draw a rectangle to plan out that spacing. So one more rectangle here at the top. This is going to be 95 by 40 mil, so 40 mil spacing between my views, and this one can just sit over here for a minute. Whoop, no, I'll leave it there for a minute, and one more for spacing here vertically, and I'm going to make it 40 wide this time and the 250 high. Alright, let's use the selection tool, which is V on your keyboard, and grab these objects and line them up with each other. If you have problems lining them up using the grid, you might need to actually turn that snap to grid off. So I'm going to do that now with mine. View, snap to grid. Alright, so I have my front, top and right hand side areas. That's the full dimensions of it, and I'm going to draw a line at 45 degrees coming off here, and I want it to be maybe 20, not 20, 200. We'll try that again. 200. Yeah, that's good. As you can see, when I draw a line, escape, draw a line from here to here, and down there it should align. I might just draw that again using the line segment tool, because I can actually click and drag there, and then click and drag here to line things up. I keep missing that path. I'll zoom in just to make things easier. There we go. As you can see, that lines up there, as does this view here. I can hold shift so it stays straight, and I might just keep accidentally trying to draw extra lines. That lines up with that. Alright, so that's my guides. I can leave those on or turn them off, but that way I can actually position my whole drawing on the page. So if I want to shift it higher or lower or left or right, I can do that. Let's just go here and lock the guide layer, and I'll be able to turn it on and off as I need it. So now I'm going to create a new layer, and this is for my orthogonal drawing itself. So I'm going to label it as such. Alright, so this time when I draw shapes, they're going to be sitting within these view areas. So the first one is 95 wide again, and it's 210. This is the big flat section on the side of the container. I don't want it to be pink any longer. I'm going to make it a black line. I've still got a line weight of 2, and I want it to have a white fill. So I'll do that. And this way I can just drag it off and drag it back into place carefully. Alright, there's that one. If I hold down Alt and click and drag it, I need to deselect and hold Alt and drag it. There's my side view. I'm going to try and put it in the correct position. That's good. And lastly, up the top we have the view looking down, and this one is 95. Alright, now it might seem a bit silly to do guides and then just draw the same shapes over the top, but this allows us to plan where our drawing is going to sit, and also make sure things are lining up exactly as they should in an orthogonal drawing. Now, the top triangle part here, I'm going to draw it as a rectangle first. So I'm going to draw it as a rectangle which is 95 by 25. And let's zoom in, because we need to be able to see what we're doing here. Control plus or Control minus to zoom in and out, of course. V to bring up my selection tool, just deselect that, drag it into place. Notice that the line was too thick, which meant the lines were sitting next to each other, not on one another. That's much better. And alright, I need to find the halfway point on this, and I'm going to use a tool to add an anchor. So what I might do is mark a point using the center line as my reference. Okay, now I know where that is. I can hold Control and select the rectangle. Plus on my keyboard adds an anchor, so I'm just going to click there once. I've added an anchor to the top of my rectangle. I'll delete that guideline for the center. Now I'm going to use minus on my keyboard, and it will allow me to remove those anchors. It should. Okay, let's try and remove that one. There's my exact center. Now the little bit on top of the juice container is going to be 1 mil wide and 15 high, which should take us to the top of our juice container. I'm going to drag that over here. As you can see, my guides are giving me a center point. and it sits right there. Looking at my front view, this edge and that edge are reference points, and I can see they line up with these guides here. And the other thing that I need on the top is this shape here. So what I can do is maybe Alt drag on it. No, that's not doing what I'm after, so I'm going to draw a fresh one. It's 1 mil, that's 95 high. So I want it to sit exactly on that, align with that center point. I can line up with the center point of these objects and with that top view. So that's my front and my top view completed. And now on this side, all I need is a rectangle here. Now I've got this reference point. I know that is where this rectangle sits. That one is 95 wide by 25 high. And this section of my container, which I drew too wide, started at that top corner. It's not going to let me do it, so let's just draw one properly. 95 by 15. I think I did something wrong there. Okay, 95 by 15. Computer agrees. Use the selection tool. Drop that on there. Okay, Control 0 to see your whole page. I'm going to turn my guide layer off now, and I can also turn off my grid, hit hide grid, and there's my completed orthogonal drawing. Now save it. Let's go File, Save As. I'm going to name it Orthogonal Drink Carton, and then next to that place your name, and then hit save. There you go.